Welcome to today's video on developmental milestones for 20-month-old toddlers. If you're a parent or caregiver of a child around this age, you're probably noticing so many exciting changes happening every single day. Your little one is becoming more independent, more communicative, and more curious about the world around them. In this video, we'll explore what's typical for 20-month-olds across several key developmental areas, and I'll share practical activities you can do at home to support your child's growth. We'll also discuss some red flags to watch for and when it might be time to seek professional guidance. So let's dive in and learn about this fascinating stage of development. First, let's talk about what developmental milestones actually are. Developmental milestones are behaviors or skills that most children can do by a certain age. They give us a general framework for understanding how children grow and develop. It's important to remember that every child develops at their own pace. Some children may reach certain milestones earlier while others may take a bit longer. That's completely normal. However, these milestones serve as helpful guideposts to ensure your child is progressing in a healthy way. At 20 months, your toddler is right in the middle of an incredible period of growth. They're transitioning from being a baby to becoming a more independent little person with their own personality, preferences, and abilities. Now, let's explore the specific areas of development. We'll start with language and communication. At 20 months, most toddlers are experiencing a language explosion. You might notice your child's vocabulary growing almost daily. Typically, children this age can say between 10 to 50 words, though some may say even more. They're starting to combine two words together to form simple phrases like more milk, daddy go, or big dog. This is a huge milestone because it shows they're beginning to understand how language works to express their needs and observations. Your 20-month-old is also becoming much better at understanding what you say to them. They can follow simple one-step directions like bring me the ball or sit down, please. They're starting to point to familiar objects when you name them, and they can identify body parts when asked. You'll also notice they're using gestures along with words like waving goodbye, shaking their head for no, or pointing to things they want. This combination of words and gestures is an important part of communication development. Let's move on to physical and motor development. At 20 months, your toddler is becoming increasingly mobile and coordinated. Most children this age can walk steadily without help, and many are even starting to run, though they might still be a bit wobbly. They can walk up and down stairs while holding onto a railing or your hand. Some adventurous toddlers might even try to climb onto furniture, which means it's definitely time to childproof if you haven't already. In terms of fine motor skills, 20-month-olds are developing better control of their hands and fingers. They can stack 2 to 4 blocks on top of each other, which requires hand-eye coordination and spatial awareness. They're learning to use a spoon and fork, though mealtimes might still be pretty messy. They can scribble with crayons and are fascinated by turning pages in books, even if they turn several at once. They're also getting better at taking off simple clothing items like socks or loose shoes, which is an early step toward independence and self-care. Now let's discuss social and emotional development. At 20 months, your toddler is developing a stronger sense of self. They're starting to recognize themselves in mirrors and photos. You might notice them becoming more assertive about their preferences, saying no more often, or having strong reactions when things don't go their way. This is actually a positive sign of growing independence, even though it can be challenging for parents. Your child is also becoming more interested in other children, though they're not quite ready for cooperative play yet. At this age, parallel play is common, where children play alongside each other rather than together. They might watch other children with interest and imitate what they see. They're also developing empathy and might show concern if another child is crying or upset. In terms of attachment, 20-month-olds often experience separation anxiety. They might become clingy when you try to leave, or get upset when you're out of sight. This is completely normal and actually shows they have a healthy attachment to you. They're also learning to express a wider range of emotions, from joy and excitement to frustration and anger, though they don't yet have the skills to regulate these big feelings on their own. Let's talk about play and cognitive development. Play is how toddlers learn about the world, and at 20 months, you'll see some exciting developments in how your child plays. They're engaging in more pretend play like feeding a doll, talking on a toy phone, or pretending to cook. This imaginative play shows they're developing symbolic thinking, which is the ability to let one thing represent another. Your toddler is also becoming a little problem solver. They can figure out simple puzzles with 2 or 3 pieces. They understand cause and effect, like knowing that pressing a button makes a toy light up or play music. They're also starting to sort objects by shape or color, which shows developing categorization skills. Their attention span is getting longer too, and they might focus on an activity they enjoy for 5 to 10 minutes. Now, I want to share some practical activities you can do at home to support your child's development across all these areas. These activities are simple, fun, and use materials you probably already have around the house. First, for language development, talk to your child constantly throughout the day. Narrate what you're doing, describe what you see, and ask simple questions. Read books together every day, pointing to pictures and naming objects. Sing songs and nursery rhymes, which help with language rhythm and memory. When your child says a word, expand on it. If they say dog, you might respond with, "Yes, that's a big brown dog." This modeling helps them learn to form longer sentences. For physical development, provide plenty of opportunities for active play. Take your child to the playground where they can practice climbing, sliding, and running in a safe environment. Play ball games, rolling or gently tossing a soft ball back and forth. Set up obstacle courses at home using pillows, cushions, and furniture. For fine motor skills, offer activities like playing with Play-Doh, stacking blocks, doing simple puzzles, or drawing with chunky crayons. To support social and emotional development, arrange playdates with other children, even if they mostly engage in parallel play. This exposure is valuable for learning social skills. Acknowledge and name your child's emotions to help them develop emotional vocabulary. You might say, "I see you're feeling frustrated because the tower fell down." Establish consistent routines, which help toddlers feel secure and understand what to expect. Give your child simple choices to foster independence, like, do you want the red cup or the blue cup? For cognitive and play development, engage in pretend play together. Have tea parties with stuffed animals, playhouse, or pretend to be different animals. Provide open-ended toys like blocks, containers, and household items that can be used in multiple ways. Do simple sorting activities with toys, socks, or safe household items. Play hide and seek with toys to develop object permanence and problem-solving skills. While we've talked about typical development, it's also important to know when to be concerned. Here are some red flags that might indicate a need for professional evaluation. If your 20-month-old isn't walking independently yet, this could indicate a motor delay. If they're not saying at least 6 words or aren't attempting to communicate through words or gestures, this might suggest a language delay. If they've lost skills they previously had, such as words they used to say or motor skills they could do, this is always a reason to consult your pediatrician. Other concerns include if your child doesn't make eye contact, doesn't respond to their name, or seems uninterested in interacting with others. If they engage in repetitive behaviors like constant rocking or hand flapping, or if they have extreme reactions to sensory experiences like sounds, textures, or lights, these could be signs worth discussing with a professional. If your child doesn't point to show you things or doesn't seem to understand simple instructions, this might indicate a developmental concern. It's important to remember that having one of these signs doesn't automatically mean there's a problem. However, if you notice several of these red flags or if your parental instinct is telling you something isn't quite right, trust yourself. Early intervention can make a tremendous difference if there is a developmental delay or concern. If you do have concerns, start by talking to your child's pediatrician. They can do a developmental screening and refer you to specialists if needed. You can also contact your local early intervention program, which provides free evaluations for children under 3. Many areas have speech therapists, occupational therapists, and developmental specialists who work specifically with young children. Remember, seeking help early is always better than waiting to see if your child will catch up on their own. In closing, watching your 20-month-old grow and develop is an incredible journey. Every day brings new discoveries, new words, new skills, and new challenges. Remember that development isn't a race, and every child follows their own unique timeline. Your role as a parent or caregiver is to provide a loving, supportive environment where your child can explore, learn, and grow at their own pace. Celebrate the small victories, be patient with the struggles, and enjoy this special time with your toddler. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content on child development and parenting. Feel free to leave a comment below sharing your own experiences with your 20-month-old. What milestones are you celebrating? What challenges are you facing? I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.